from the VON Newsline. This is the VON Major Newscast.
Good evening. I am Danielle Moore in with your VON Major News package for today, Friday, 10th January 2020. In our lead stories nationally, a senior Met officer in St. Kitts explains recent high winds pattern in SKN. And the health department here on Nevis committed to fight against mosquitoes and their infectious diseases. Regionally, TNT records 10th murder in the first 10 days of 2020. Internationally, U.S. House votes to limit Trump war powers on Iran. And in sports, West Indies' Chris Gayle wants to carry on playing until he's 45. We'll have the details to these and other stories after this short break.
You've seen it before.
Another look
Takes an in-depth look into business, politics, science, technology, religion, and more.
Another look
Featuring documentaries from the BBC, regional features, and local ones too.
Another look
Every Monday at 3 p.m. on the Eastern Caribbean's powerhouse, Vaughan.
Welcome back, and now for the national news. Amidst a recent change in weather, specifically high winds, the Meteorological Office in St. Kitts has issued a high winds advisory cautioning the public, particularly persons who travel on the sea. According to the advisory, a small craft warning is in effect for the waters of Antigua and Barbuda, St. Kitts and Nevis, and the rest of the Leeward Islands, as well as the British Virgin Islands. Hazardous seas due to strong winds resulting from a very tight pressure gradient are expected to be an extreme threat to the life and property of mariners. The VON Newsline spoke with Senior Meteorological Officer in St. Kitts, Mr. Elmo Burke, who explained why the advisory was issued.
That was generated because of a high pressure system that came off the U.S. East Coast, and it's an intense high pressure system, and it's been originating down into our region, and because of tightening pressure gradient, it is creating or generating strong and gusty winds across the Federation for us here in St. Kitts and Nevis. And as such, we would have issued the high wind advisory. The seas are also responding, and we would have issued a small craft warning as the seas have started deteriorating, and we anticipate this will continue through the weekend and even worsen as we go into the weekend. And as such, we are asking the general public, especially persons, to exercise extreme caution.
Meantime, in light of the fact that Puerto Rico experienced earthquakes from December 28th to January 7th, 2020, Mr. Burke said that the quakes, aftershocks nor tremors have nothing to do with the high wind patterns.
The situation in Puerto Rico was seismic in terms of shifting of the earth crust and the plates and so forth, so which is totally separate from this weather phenomenon that we are experiencing. They're not correlated.
Mr. Elmo Burke. The Ministry and Department here on Nevis continues its efforts to the Health Ministry and Department here on Nevis continues its efforts to combat mosquitoes and mosquito-borne diseases on the island. According to the World Health Organization, mosquitoes are one of the deadliest vectors in the world, with the ability to carry and spread diseases such as Zika, dengue, chikungunya, and yellow fever to humans that cause millions of deaths every year. Following reports of dengue in various regions of the Caribbean, the Department of Health here on Nevis has been carrying out some prevention methods to combat these vectors and the diseases they carry. The VON Newsline spoke to Junior Minister of Health here on Nevis, the Honorable Hazel Brandy William, about these efforts.
The Department of Environmental Health, a department under the Ministry of Health and Gender Affairs, they were using unused technology. They are setting what is called mosquito traps. There are some drawbacks in using the fogging, and so this is a new way of trying to ascertain where the breeding ground for mosquitoes are, and so that they are setting these traps within which they are able to catch the mosquitoes. And so they have been doing that for a number of weeks. or months throughout the different areas on Nevis.
The junior minister added that the setting of traps by the health officials will be done throughout the rainy season.
This is the rainy season, and so the setting of traps for mosquitoes, that started in November, December, January, until maybe about March when we have the rainy season. This will be done. However, beyond that point, they will still be setting the traps intermittently in different areas.
The Honorable Hazel Brandy Williams. This comes as Chief Medical Officer here in St. Kitts and Nevis, Dr. Hazel Laws, cautioned the general public about influenza flu virus here in the Federation as this is the season where the contagious illness will be very susceptible to persons in the community. Vehicle owners here on Nevis are being advised to adhere to the laws when it comes to the requirements of their motor vehicles. The cautionary comes from the head of the Nevis Division of the Royal St. Christopher Nevis Police Force, Superintendent Lyndon David. Speaking to this media house, he outlined one requirement that at times is not being adhered to and warned that measures will be taken to rectify this.
For the passenger buses, they're entitled to have a destination light, a particular color. But what we're now seeing, you have all sorts of different colors on the vehicle. Then you would have one vehicle has about 8 sets of lights. Now, the manufacturer might give you 4. You have the headlamps and the fog lights. But there are persons who put on additional lights. You're supposed to get permission from the licensing authority, and you must justify why you should get that. And if you do not get that, the police will stop you and force you to take it off and ticket you or give you a warning, but it must come off. So these are the things we're going to enforce on the roads. Also too, you have where someone has these fog lights and these additional lights, and they take the headlamps off. The law says lighted headlamp. So when you get a ticket, you say, but I have a light. No, the law says lighted headlamp.
Elaborating on this particular aspect, Superintendent David sought to make the force's position clear when it comes to upholding the traffic laws.
Motorists on the island of Nevis and to the further extent of the Federation, though you have 1 million lights on your vehicle and your headlamp is off, you commit the offense of driving your vehicle without your 2 lighted headlamps. If one of your headlamp is blown, you will be ticketed. You also must have light to illuminate your rear number plate. So with all the lights you have at the back and there is no light at the number plate, yes, you will be ticketed. There are some people that want to be stylish. They put a purple light, a green light to illuminate your number plate, but no, the law indicates the white light at the back. So it must be where the light that is designated must be on the vehicle. If you're going to use some other light, you must get permission from the licensing authority.
Superintendent Lyndon David. The St. Kitts and Nevis Labour Party, or SKNLP, lost the last federal elections, which were held on February 16, 2015, and only won 3 out of the 11 seats here on St. Kitts and Nevis. The party was in power for 20 years, from 1995 to 2015. SKNLP was defeated by the Team Unity Alliance, which comprises of the People's Action Movement, or PAM, Concerned Citizens Movement, CCM, and the People's Labour Party, or PLP. The alliance won 7 seats, 4, 2, and 1 respectively. However, what has this done for SKNLP? The party leader, Dr. the Honorable Denzel Douglas, stated earlier this week that the defeat in the last elections was a time to consider things generally.
During this period, it was important for us to reflect on the mistakes that we might have made in the past, reflected on the agonizing moments, for example, which might have led to the defeat of the party. But again, having considered that whatever happens in life has to be spirit-driven and led by the Almighty, we, of course, openly said we forgive all those who might have been offensive in some way. And that is what I think has made us stronger as a party and better prepared to lead our nation in the future.
The veteran parliamentarian is also celebrating over 30 years of public service. Additionally, he said he will continue to serve the people of St. Kitts and Nevis.
I have embraced, therefore, the anniversary celebration as an opportunity to renew my own personal commitment to continue to serve the people of St. Kitts and Nevis during this very critical time, especially of transition to a new generation of leadership within our great St. Kitts and Nevis Labour Party, as I do my utmost to serve using the skills and the experience and the maturity that I have been able to acquire, and to ensure that this will be put to the benefit of the people of St. Kitts and Nevis in the new dispensation after the general elections of 2020.
Dr. the Honorable Denzel Douglas. The Gender Affairs Department here on Nevis continues to have boys and men here on the island as part of its focus moving forward to the new millennium. Into the new millennium. The department is preparing itself to host a men's forum which will have as its theme issues affecting men and boys. The event is slated to be held on Saturday, 25th January at the GMBC Building, Gender Affairs Conference Room, Government Road from 6 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. Birthed some 6 years ago, the forum sought to create an avenue where men and boys can discuss and address issues pertaining to them via a group setting. Gender Affairs Officer here on Nevis, Pastor Wayne Maynard, in speaking to the VON Newsline, elaborated this.
When men get together, especially when it's men only, men become more expressive and in addressing things that are of concern and really urgent need to them. And so back in 2014, the Men's Forum, as part of the Gender Affairs Division, was birthed. And it really is a group of men within the community, and it's not a very formal group, but it is a very effective and vibrant group of men who support what takes place at the Gender Affairs Department and provides us almost an instant audience to be able to address things of concern to men in the community.
He outlined some of the topics that will be discussed at the forum.
There will be a number of informed and educated facilitators who will address topics such as depression and sexual harassment. And the truth is, these discussions get to be very intense at times and can lead to other issues that might arise from these very relevant topics to men in the community. So we are inviting one and all to be able to come out, and even though it is being dubbed and is labeled as a men's event and issues affecting men and boys, we have not failed to have females attending, and that has added to the discussions as well and has made them very effective over the years.
Gender Affairs Officer here on Nevis, Pastor Wayne Maynard. Services at the Joseph Nathaniel France or JNF General Hospital are expected to improve soon. This as the hospital receives a donation of a Drucker diagnostics device from Dr. Frank Laws, which was handed over to the Ministry of Health on Thursday, January 9th. The machine was donated by Dr. Frank Laws, a son of the soil who specializes in cardiovascular disease cardiology in Glenwood Springs, Colorado, USA. The Drucker diagnostics device allows for health practitioners to give hematology results in a timely manner. Hematology is the science or study of blood, blood-forming organs, and blood diseases. Dr. Laws noted that he saw the importance and the need for timely testing, hence one of the reasons for partnering with the Ministry of Health in St. Kitts and Nevis. Minister of State with responsibility for health, Senator the Honorable Wendy Phipps, thanked Dr. Frank Laws for his contribution to the health sector and to St. Kitts and Nevis in general. She noted that the government of St. Kitts and Nevis remains committed to ensuring that citizens and residents alike receive the best care. Chief Medical Officer Dr. Hazel Laws also used the occasion to note that the Ministry of Health will focus more on cardiovascular services in 2020. And finally, in our national news segment, Prime Minister Dr. the Honorable Timothy Harris will host his first monthly press conference for 2020 next Tuesday, January 14th. The conference will be held at the Parliamentary Lounge at Government Headquarters and is slated to commence at 2:30 p.m. At the forum, the Prime Minister will seek to update citizens and residents of St. Kitts and Nevis on matters of national interest. Members of the press corps will also be present to ask questions for the benefit of the listening and viewing public. The last press conference was held on December 4th, 2019. That is the national news segment. You can visit our website at www.vaughanradio.com or check us out on Facebook at Vaughan Radio or our Vaughan Radio YouTube channel for these and other stories. News from across the region is next.
At the Bank of Nevis, we know you have your personal as well as your business needs, and we're here to help. Our knowledgeable staff will work with you to help you achieve the financial success that you or your company needs in a competitive market. We offer solutions that make your banking experience easier, like our savings and checking accounts. Be sure to ask about our youth savers accounts and our Bank of Nevis Go Club. We offer a wide range of personal loans, including mortgage, land, student, auto, and consumer loans. Have access to your funds instantly with our Be-Online internet banking and our debit and credit cards. We make international banking and investing easy. How's your business? Give it the leverage it really needs by letting the Bank of Nevis assist you with all the necessary funding for all your business expenses. It's that easy. What are you waiting for? The Bank of Nevis Limited, improving the quality of life.
Like us on Facebook at www.facebook.com/The Bank of Nevis.
Welcome back, and now for the regional news. News from Trinidad: a drive-by shooting in Siparia has left one man dead and another fighting for his life at hospital. The TrinidadExpress.com says the deceased has been identified as Cassian Greenidge. Police said a group of men was standing on the roadway at Deganes village when a vehicle pulled alongside them at around 8 p.m. earlier this week. The occupants opened fire at the group, hitting Greenidge and another man. Greenidge, a fruit vendor, died at the scene. The second victim was taken to the San Fernando General Hospital in serious condition. The country has recorded at least 10 homicides for the year so far. Out of Guyana, health authorities have denied reports that the Chadigan International Airport had no defibrillator or staff appropriately trained to assist when an American Airlines passenger collapsed and later died on Sunday. It has insisted that all necessary protocols were followed and executed in a timely manner with the hope of a better outcome, but the man did not make it. The passenger, said to be between the ages of 50 and 60, collapsed while boarding an American Airlines flight early Sunday morning. In addition to being asthmatic, the patient's medical history indicated that he was also hypertensive. A police investigation is ongoing. In Puerto Rico, power is expected to be slowly restored to all homes over the coming days in the aftermath of a 6.4 magnitude earthquake that left many residents sleeping outside their homes and more than 2,000 others in shelters. The strongest and likely most damaging of the hundreds of tremors that have struck the island since December 28th hit before dawn Tuesday. It left one man dead and caused dozens of homes and other structures to crumble. With 3 major power lines expected to return to service between Thursday and Saturday, Puerto Rico's Electricity Energy Authority CEO Jose Ortiz said the entire U.S. territory, with about 3 million residents, could have power by the weekend. A 4th plant could begin operating by Sunday, he said. Power has now been restored to about 700,000 of Puerto Rico's 1.4 million utility customers across the island, according to Mr. Ortiz. Edition.cnn.com says, for many Puerto Ricans still rebuilding after 2017's Hurricane Maria that claimed thousands of lives and left much of the island in darkness for months, the uncertainty following the disaster recalls the post-storm trauma. The Puerto Rico Department of Housing said 2,204 people have sought refuge in 18 shelters. News from Antigua and Barbuda: the year 2019 has set a record for the least number of homicides committed in Antigua and Barbuda in a single year since 1999. With just 3 murders on record, a 75% decrease from 2018, Acting Commissioner of Police Atlee Rodney suggests that it may be the lowest in any independent state in the world. The Antigua Observer quoted him as saying, "We have recorded the lowest number of murders in the country for almost 20 years. The years where we had at least less than 5 murders were in 2000 and 2001, when we had 4 in both years." Serious crimes, to include gun-related and violent crimes, were said to have decreased by 42.48% when compared to 2018. The acting commissioner accredited this to the ongoing ability of law enforcement officers in removing firearms off the streets. The overall number of crimes reported, however, increased by 634 reports. It accounted for a 28.79% increase and drove the figures from 2,202 in 2018 to 2,836 in 2019. Acquisition crimes like petty theft, car break-ins, home invasion, and malicious damage dominated the reports, accounting for more than half of the crimes reported. And finally, in our regional news segment, former Prime Minister Professor Owen Arthur has officially taken the captain's seat at the head of the regional airline Liat, and on board the new flight plan for the financially plagued carrier will be known Barbadian developer Mark Maloney. According to nationnews.com, the new board was elected following a shareholders meeting, with Mr. Arthur being selected as chairman. Mr. Arthur, who was Prime Minister from 1994 to 2008, currently serves as a professor of practice at the University of West Indies. The veteran economist had said in an interview in last Monday's Daily Nation that he saw the new job as the biggest challenge yet. That's it for the regional news segment. International news is up next. Welcome back, and now for the international news. The U.S. House of Representatives has approved a largely symbolic resolution seeking to limit President Donald Trump's ability to make war on Iran. The measure passed the Democratic-run chamber 224 to 194, but faces an uphill climb in the Republican-held Senate. It claims to mandate congressional approval for any conflict with Iran, except in cases of imminent attack against the U.S. Neither the U.S. nor Iran has declared plans for further military action. Iran this week fired missiles at Iraqi bases housing American forces, injuring no one, after the U.S. last week killed a senior Iranian commander at Baghdad in a Baghdad drone strike. Thursday's measure directed the president to terminate the use of the United States Armed Forces against Iran unless granted congressional authorization. A release of a batch of internal messages has raised more questions about the safety of Boeing's 737 MAX. In one of the communications, an employee said the plane was designed by clowns, according to the BBC. The 737 MAX was grounded in March 2019 after 2 fatal crashes in Indonesia and Ethiopia, which killed almost 350 people in total. Boeing said it had released the hundreds of redacted messages as part of its commitment to transparency. The BBC's Theo Legault gives us more.
These messages refer to Boeing employees telling lies, covering up problems and treating regulators with contempt, as well as expressing concerns about various aspects of the 737 MAX program. A key theme is the training needed by existing 737 pilots who wanted to fly the new model. It shows senior figures doing all they can to ensure that extra training is kept to a minimum in order to keep costs down for Boeing's customers. In a statement, Boeing said, "These communications do not reflect the company we are and need to be, and they're completely unacceptable." It apologized to airlines, regulators and the flying public.
The Duchess of Sussex has returned to Canada to join her son amid discussions over the future role for her and Prince Harry and the royal family. Meghan and Prince Harry had been in Canada over Christmas with baby Archie. It comes as the Queen, the Prince of Wales, and the Duke of Cambridge asked staff to find a workable solution after the couple announced they will step back as senior royals. The royal family said it was said to be hurt at the couple's statement. Palace sources have told BBC royal correspondent Johnny Diamond that Prince Harry and Meghan did not consult any other royal about making their personal statement. In their announcement on Wednesday evening, Prince Harry and Meghan revealed they intend to step back as senior members of the royal family and work to become financially independent. They plan to split their time between the UK and North America while continuing to honor our duty to the Queen, the Commonwealth, and our patronages. The decision came after many months of reflection and internal discussions. They added, despite the couple's decision, Harry will remain sixth in line to the throne. And finally, in our international news segment, an 11-year-old student has opened fire in a school in northern Mexico, killing a teacher and injuring at least 6 other people before shooting himself dead, officials say. The incident happened at the private Colegoy Cervantes School in the city of Torreon, Coahuila State. It was not immediately clear what his motives were. Though murders are on the rise in Mexico, school shootings are rare. The boy, who has not been identified, was a good student who lived with his grandmother and had normal behavior, Mayor George Zormenio told Milenio TV. He carried 2 guns, Mr. Zormenio said. It was not clear how the boy had obtained them. The shooting happened at about 9 a.m. local time on Friday in Torreon, some 800 kilometers or 500 miles from the capital, Mexico City. That's it for the international news segment. Sports is up next.
I need a cool laptop, a new backpack, and so do all my friends. I need cute notebooks, folders, flashlights, pencils, and my pens. School is exciting, but it's no fun without all the tools I need. But I'm at ease, cause it's a breeze if I shop at TDC. Oh yeah!
It's back to school at TDC Business Center and City Drugstore Nevis, your one-stop shop for all your school supply needs. Get bundle savings on backpack and computer packages, but save 20% off all back-to-school materials and printers. Back-to-school shopping is made easy at TDC Business Center and City Drugstore Nevis. See stores for details.
Welcome back, and now into sports. In cricket, West Indies batsman Chris Gayle, alias Universe Boss, says he wants to carry on playing until he's 45 and is available for selection for this year's 2020 World Cup. The 40-year-old announced his retirement from one-day internationals in February, but reversed his decision after the World Cup. Gayle has not played an ODI since his 301st game for the West Indies against India in August 2019. "I'm sure I'm getting younger as the days go on," Gayle said. Gayle took a break from cricket at the end of 2019 and was not involved in the West Indies' recent ODI series win over Ireland. He's currently in Bangladesh to play in their domestic 2020 league. 45 is a good number. Let's target 45. I think it's a good number, he said. West Indies won the latest edition of the 20 World Cup in 2016 when they beat England in a thrilling final in Kolkata. They will defend their title in Australia in November. And finally, in our sports segment, in cricket, West Indies clinched the first home ODI series win since 2014 thanks to a 1-wicket victory over Ireland on Thursday, Barbados. Paul Stirling's 63 helped the Irish to 237 for 9, with Alzari Joseph taking the second straight 4-wicket haul. The scores were Ireland 237 for 9, 50 overs, Stirling 63, Singh 34, Joseph 4 for 32. West Indies 242 for 9, 49.5 overs, Puran 52, Walsh 46 not out, Singh 3 for 48. That's it for sports. The latest weather report is up next. The weather tonight, partly cloudy skies with a 50% or moderate chance of showers. The weather tomorrow, partly sunny with a 50% or moderate chance of showers. Winds east to northeast at 33 to 52 kilometers per hour or 18 to 28 knots with higher gusts in showers. The high wind advisory remains in effect. Seas 2.4 to 3.7 meters or 8 to 12 feet. The small craft warning remains in effect and mariners should stay in port. Sunrise tomorrow 6:43 a.m., sunset tomorrow 5:54 p.m. And that's how we wrap up the major news package for today, Friday, 10th January 2020. Before we go, let's take a look at the headlines once again. Nationally, Senior Met Officer in St. Kitts explains recent high wind patterns in SKN. And Health Department here on Nevis committed to fight against mosquitoes and their infectious diseases. Regionally, TNT records 10th murder in first 10 days of 2020. Internationally, U.S. House votes to limit Trump war powers on Iran. And in sports, West Indies' Chris Gayle wants to carry on playing until he's 45. On behalf of the rest of the news team, I am Daniel Moore, wishing you a pleasant evening.